Hello friends, welcome to another episode of the Urban Homesteading channel with Professor DIY, Mrs. DIY and Elpida. Today, in the spirit of holidays, we're going to use some scrap to make some Christmas decorations, right? And we're going to try to do it in the simplest possible way with a simple set of tools. So we're going to show you every step on the way as we usually do. Stick around. Well, this is our project for today. And as you can see, we have two simple decorations. This I call the Jenga tree. And Mrs. DIY, what is the name of this tree?
That is a cedar disc tree.
A cedar disc tree. Okay? So we're going to show you, like we always do, every step of how to make it. And again, this is scraps from us, right? But even if you were to buy the wood, you can buy a piece of scrap at Lowe's or Home Depot, enough to do all this, plus a dowel for about $10, right? It's not expensive. And again, this, the cedar disc, is that what we call it? The cedar disc tree it came out of our backyard with a piece of plywood.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do not happen to have access to our backyard, not many people do actually, right?
No, but even just going around to like a park or something, you could maybe find a fallen branch or
You do, but you
something
can
like
go
that.
to the Dollar Tree and buy the discs.
You
anyway.
can. They
You
just
know.
won't be quite as varying in size. They'll be more uniform.
Right,
But you
but-
can still do a similar look.
Correct.
Yep.
So stick around and we're going to show you everything. So we're going to start with a Jenga tree. And what you need for the Jenga tree is a piece of dowel and some scrap. We chose some 2x6 scrap we have here, right?
From our recent project.
Correct. Which was a big project, was the
Right.
roof, right? And we had the dowel as well, but if you need to buy this material, you're still under $10, right?
Right.
And we have seen those trees for sale for substantially more,
Yes.
like 60 and 70 bucks, right?
Yeah.
So this will be our first.
Okay, so what have we done so far?
So far, we've just drawn the outline of the tree.
So we lined this dowel up into what we called the center. We've obviously off-centered the boards to eliminate as much waste wood as possible, or to make use of as much wood as we can. Then we drew one line here, and then we measured this distance to make sure that we had an equidistant, and then we drew that line there so that we've got a symmetrical tree.
Excellent.
So our first step now is going to be to cut our Jenga
Make the
pieces.
Jenga pieces,
Jenga
yeah.
pieces, okay. Here-
And by the way, following this way, you could make a Jenga game.
Indeed.
In the spirit of fun, we're being a little bit ridiculous here, using an extra long drill bit to make the holes we need to make for our dowel to go into the wood. You most certainly don't have to do. We are just being funny here. You can use a normal drill. No special equipment is needed in order to achieve this project, but it most certainly looks fun this way. I bought these bits because I plan to make holes through some walls to run some cable and some internet that I want to do. Most certainly they are not designed for this purpose, but rather when normal bits and their length is not long enough to do what you have to do. Once again, this is for humor purposes here, and I'm leaving it here in the spirit of the holidays. Sometimes we're having fun and we don't always include it in the final video, but in this case, I want to show you a little bit of my silly side. Any normal drill bit will do here, a paddle bit will do here, Forstner bit will do here, and if you have a drill press, that will be the ideal way to make those perfectly straight
So
holes.
we set this at a 1-inch width. It's already set up. It's set up at 1 inch there. So we're using the fence, and then we're just going to start cutting the Jenga pieces. Right?
After we make sure that we're high enough.
Oh yeah, we got to adjust the blade height.
And
There
here
we
is a
go.
matter of preference. I prefer to go just above the surface, and that is for safety purposes, right?
Okay.
But again, you can do whatever you want. Your shop, your shoe, your saw, your shop, your rules. This is a rather repetitive process in the saw, and if you take it nice and slow with a nice fresh blade, this is not difficult at all, and it goes rather quickly. You can make any size tree, Jenga tree, this way, but of course the bigger the tree, the more the cuts you're going to have to make, and also the longer the pieces you're going to have to cut. So take your time here, be careful, and this will go in no time. In our case, this took but a few minutes without any difficulties at all. I strongly believe that safety is an individual construct, not a universal one. Do not do things you are unsafe doing. If you do not feel comfortable, stop and do it another way. In any case, I only perform things that I feel comfortable and safe doing. Do not leave messages about that we did something unsafe. We are not unsafe at any point. We take safety very, very seriously, but we're not here to teach you safety. We are here to just have fun and show you how to build some fun projects. So from our first piece we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 strips. And as you can see, our line there will allow us to make a nice cut when we're done, right? Mm-hmm. And we're going to repeat that with all the other pieces. And in order to preserve wood, we cut it to only what we need, right? Mm-hmm. So if you do that, you copy this angle correctly, you can actually use only one of those pieces of scrap to get all pieces.
But now we have scraps from our scraps.
We have scraps from scraps, yes.
So we're being very frugal again. Okay?
All right,
So now we're going to cut these remaining 2 pieces and we'll have them all stacked at the right angles.
Yep. So for our next step, we're going to use our bandsaw. It's not required that you have a bandsaw. You can use a handsaw on this one, right? Mm-hmm. So we're going to follow the lines that we made earlier that we saw you in the beginning. That was the whole purpose of the lines, right? Mm-hmm. So this should be a fairly fast process. We'll show you a little bit of this. But even with a handsaw, there are small pieces, right? They're thin pieces.
Right.
It will not be a hard cut.
Right. We're just using power tools because we have them, right?
And we need to be fast.
Right.
All right, so the next step is that we drew a center line because we need to punch a hole through each one of them, right?
Or drill, yes.
Or drill a hole. What's wrong with punch?
They're 2 different actions.
Oh.
Just saying. Okay. And so we found the center of the shortest one and then used this to line up a long enough piece to make it square, and then that's automatically the center.
We use
of the
this,
bottom.
also known as a square.
Mm-hmm. To make it square so that we would have the perpendicular line exactly in the middle.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And then we'll take each piece and drill it.
Probably 2 at a time.
Okay. Okay, so we have the first couple of pieces drilled, and we've made a mark where we want it to stop so that we've got that much as the trunk of the tree, the base of the tree. And we made these pretty snug so that they'll stay in place, especially if we want to move them into a particular orientation. And each one of these has just got to be moved down and put into place.
And our lines also help us align them now, you know.
Right, so that we know that we're in the right orientation. Okay. As you can see, it's starting to come together. We've been stacking each piece onto the dowel as we've drilled through. We drilled through 2 pieces and used that 3rd piece for our next stack to make sure that we're all lined up.
And you need this to be a snug fit. You don't want it loose, right?
Right, and that way if you try to swing these or anything, they're going to stay where you want them to instead of being floppy, because we don't want floppy.
Right, no floppy. Floppy ain't good.
Right. And as you can see, our line is lining up. Okay.
So here we are. It is assembled. And I guess at this stage, you could even use it like that. You could paint different colors on there, like green and red or something, right? Stripes.
Yeah.
But in our case, we're going to put it on a base. You should put it on a base regardless, don't you think, Mrs. DIY? And we're going to fan it. We're going to open it, right? And see how it looks.
Okay.
So our next step is to find us a suitable base.
Blaze. Okay.
So here we are. If you're OCD, you might want that to be parallel. It doesn't have to be, but you know.
Uh-huh. Are you gonna?
And then you, no, I want Mrs. DIY to do that.
Okay.
All right, Mrs. DIY,
You want her to
I want you to fan it.
adjust it and fan it. Okay.
That's what we mean by fanning, right? We're going to turn them,
Right.
and we're going to show you what this requires a little bit of playing, I'm assuming, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to show you the final product. Well, this is our final, what we like, I guess. It's not the final anything, but this is what we like. And
But potentially to dress this up, like if you're gonna stain it or paint it or whatever, but because we've actually made these pieces like at a pretty good size, we could put tea lights all the way up this thing
yeah,
and decorate it all the way around, and that would really give it some flair.
absolutely,
right?
yes, for sure, for sure. Excellent.
All right.
I think this is what we were envisioning, right?
Yeah. And again, the finishing is just whatever your preference is. Do you want this painted? Do you want it stained? Do you want it natural like this?
And you can leave it flat as well. We just
Yeah.
didn't want it flat.
Right. We like the dimensionality here.
Yes. Is that a word?
Yes, it is now.
Okay. All right. So we're using another piece of scrap because this is scrap Christmas trees, right? Christmas gifts or ornaments. What are we making?
They're just decorations.
Yeah.
And we're going to freehand a Christmas tree shape. And of course, you can go on the internet and find many templates. For example, I would have to do that if I didn't have Mrs. DIY and Elpida because my artistic skills are 0. So if you're like me, cheat, go to the interweb, right?
Yeah, but interwebs is all about having resources, right?
I guess.
So it's not really cheating. And so at this point, I think this is really just about a preference of your proportions, right?
Right.
Do you need a longer,
Yeah, I think I need a longer straight edge.
straight edge
Hang on.
somewhere?
I think I have one right here.
Yay. Our lathing strip that we cut from earlier makes a really nice straight edge. Okay, so we have a basic triangle shape, and then are we going to cut it first or second? Like you're going to cut out the triangle, or you're going to do the other thing and then cut?
I don't know. We'll see.
Okay. Okay, so we're going to make a lot of these. run down your
I
battery.
know, I'm sorry.
And you've left it on running this whole time.
Oh,
Okay, and so now we've got our triangular shape. We're going to use the bandsaw to cut that out as well. We'll get started. For those of you who like to make a mess, there we go.
Okay, we lost a couple. Let me go and recover them.
But these are all the slices we're going to start with and see how far we get, right?
Yep. So we're using Titebond Quick and Thick as our glue. We're not sponsored by Titebond, but it is the glue we prefer, right, Mrs. DIY?
Yep.
And we're using this glue because, as it says, it's thick and it dries quickly, so you don't have to wait too long for this project to dry. There is a little bit of weight, of course, but... And then for finish, are we going to just spray poly on it, Mrs. DIY?
Probably.
Now, what if you don't have a forest behind your house to get those? Actually, the Dollar Tree sells bags of them, right? For $1.25.
And we paid $0 for
We
ours.
paid $0, but if you want to buy, they are not very expensive. A bag is about $1.25, and this size tree, probably one bag will be enough. And you won't have to cut it, right?
Right.
In our case, it didn't cost us anything, but it cost us a little bit of time to create it. But this is a project you can easily do for maybe $10 most, right? So we're going to finish. We're going to show you the finished product soon. Right?
Beautiful cedar. And yeah, the smell is just absolutely amazing. And so what is this for?
This is the base for our Christmas tree to stand on.
Okay, awesome.
So we use a chisel to define the area we want to remove from the wood, right? And now we're using mini carving tools. These are carving chisels for, what do you call it? To make shapes and animals and
Spoons and things like
spoons of this nature, right? This is a slow process, and running it through a chainsaw blade will be faster, right?
chainsaw blade.
Yeah, so but it will go through. You will see the two edges,
Yeah.
but it will be done in seconds.
Or a saw blade.
We are trying this. If it doesn't work out, we can still go to plan 2, right?
Sure.
Definitely not a necessary step. Using a Dremel proved to be a much more efficient method time-wise and allow us to very quickly finish the project However, you could still use chisels and achieve the same result. We don't have another tool to achieve this, so the Dremel here was a good choice, and many people have a Dremel or a similar tool, which is simply a rotary tool with some type of adjustments that will allow you to remove wood in some expeditious manner. This was probably the most difficult aspect of the whole build, and definitely can be much easier done.
Alright, we are now ready to do the poly coat to bring out the wood grain on this part of the project.
We are using Minwax fast drying polyurethane, but we are not sponsored by them.
Right.
You almost sprayed on yourself.
Well, she stopped in time, right? Ooh, nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Do you want to poly the base too or not? No, I'm taking the base.
The other base. Okay. Okay, here's the tree on the base. Cut and groove. Doing another coat here.
And the poly will prevent the colors from changing. That's the main reason, right? It brought them up a little more, and it will keep them there, right?
Right.
You want to do another coat, especially on the top of the... Usually you need to do more than one coat of poly, you know?
Yeah, because this wood was pretty dry, so it'll soak up quite a bit of the poly as it all goes, and then...
You like it?
Okay, looks good. We're ready.
So we're finished with our two projects, and we're very happy with them. What do you think, Mrs. DIY? Simple, low cost or free decorations for this holiday season, right?
Mm-hmm.
So why spend money? And again, this we've seen on Etsy and other stores for ridiculous amount of money.
Yep.
The cedar disc trees. See, I remember. And the Jenga trees, none of them, by the way, are called this. This is
No.
our names.
But
And
we've
the-
seen those as well.
Right. And the Jenga trees are also very expensive, and I don't really know why, but they are, right? So this is an easy way to make a gift. Give it to someone, make a decoration for your house. From Professor DIY, Mrs. DIY, and Elpida, we hope you have fun. Give us a like if you enjoyed this episode. Hit the other button twice if you didn't. Share, like, and subscribe to our channel. Happy holidays, friends.